World circumstances will continue to develop as Yah reveals the very nature, heart, and inward inclination of world leadership and of those who follow them. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day 5 of the Torah portion of Vieira. And we are now in chapter number 8 of the book of Exodus, or Shemot. Yah is incrementally working on Pharaoh and on his governmental staff, his inner council. And there has been blood, there have been frogs, there have now been gnats, and we come down to verse number 20. It says, And Yahweh said to Moshe, Rise up early in the morning, stand before Pharaoh as he comes out to the water, and say to him, Thus said Yahweh, Let my people go so that they serve me. Yah is not relenting on his demand. Or else, if you do not let my people go, see, I am sending swarms, and this translation says, swarms of flies on you and your servants, and on your people, and into your houses. And the houses of the Mitzrites shall be filled with swarms of flies, and also the ground on which they stand. And in that day I shall separate the land of Goshen in which my people dwelt, so that no swarms of flies shall be there, so that you know that I am Yahweh in the midst of the land, and I shall put a ransom, this translation says, between my people and your people. Tomorrow this sign shall be. A couple of important parts here before we get a little further in this chapter. The word swarms, swarms of flies. Many of your translations, when it uses the word flies, excuse me, the word flies will be in italics, and that is that it's not original in the text. Then you'll notice that it says at the end of verse 21, also on the ground on which they stand. Flies normally do not move across the ground. You would see them on things a little higher up than the ground itself. The rabbinical understanding here of this word is that it's a creepy crawly thing. The word flies is arov. If you want to transliterate, A-R-O-V, arov, and it means a mixture that swarms. So the idea is that this is possibly, another way of looking at it, not flies, but snakes, spiders, scorpions, creepy, crawly things. I've been in a house, you get in a house and there's one fly in the house, it will drive you nuts. And you're up with a fly swatter or a rolled up newspaper, magazine or something, trying to get that fly, opening the door and letting it out. Can you imagine the reaction that there are creepy crawly bugs, scorpions, snakes in your house? The women folk especially, but not just the women folk, they are going to go nuts. This is going to be a severe problem. The word arov, again, it means a mixture that swarms. The root of this word is arab. If you want to transliterate A or A, B, yes, it looks like Arab. But it means to pledge, to exchange, to mortgage, to engage or occupy, to undertake for, to give pledges, become surety for, give in a pledge. So this seems like it is financial at its root. That is, that there is a required obligation. Now, one way of looking at this might be the Arabic mindset in the Middle East, where they are taking pledges from the nations of the earth, financial obligations from the earth, in order to occupy the land. Another way of saying that is that they're looking for pledges from Israel that they will give to them land. But then there may be a broader understanding here, because what we're talking about is an event that took place in ancient days that has relevance to us in our day, parallels in our day. And when you read through the book of Revelation, you will find that many of the plagues have a similitude listed there, that there is a real close semblance of effect. Now, if it's obligations of finance and mortgaging and exchanging, it could be that there is a devaluing of currency. Now, that's not so far-fetched. Severe hikes in interest rates with the current economic woes the world over. That's not too far for us to imagine. Mortgage rates going astronomically high, or promises of the government to pay. Think about this. There are obligations of debt that nations undertake, borrowing money to balance their budgets or to continue their operations, but making a pledge, basically writing out a debtor's note or an IOU to the people saying the government stands behind this borrowing and we promise to repay. Here in the United States, as we shared at House of David this past Shabbat, the current IOU stands at $34 trillion. But the government says it's good debt. We promise to pay. The problem is our government, just like probably yours wherever you are in the earth, doesn't have $34 trillion or whatever your indebtedness might be. So is this creepy crawly thing going to be an escalating, crawling, moving upward debt that the ceiling can no longer hold, and there's going to be a financial crisis? However, Yah says it's not coming to Goshen. It's not going to affect my people the same way. Now, we can't just sit back and say, well, if that's what he's saying, I ain't going to worry about it. I'm going to go ahead and live good and live long, and I'm not going to worry about how I'm going to pay for things. No, that's not the way we operate. Yah's people seek to operate financially and fiscally sound. We try to pay as we go. We need to get out of debt. And that's a tall mountain for most of us. We have been trained to live by pieces of plastic cards and get it now and pay it later. But Yah may be saying to us, it's not going to affect Goshen because Goshen's going to operate differently. If that's going to happen, then we need to start now. Now, another part of this is that Pharaoh says, I'm done. You guys can go. Y'all can go worship like you want. Just don't go very far. Matter of fact, just stay here in the land. And Moshe says it would be against your woke agenda. It would be offensive to you if we worship the way we worship in front of you. You're going to be offended. Now, we know in our current world society, you can't have that. Well, go a little ways, but don't go very far, and pray for me. Moshe says, when I leave you, I'm going to pray that this thing stop. And when it stopped, the crisis was over, and Pharaoh returned to being Pharaoh. That softened heart got hard again. Don't expect world leaders to make an abrupt world about face and suddenly change all that they are and have been. Neither expect that from those who follow them and applaud them. You're in Goshen. Live differently. Be different. For Yah is calling us to be different. Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Thank you for joining me this week. Thank you for your prayers this week. Thank you for your comments, your encouragements. If you want to support, you can go to remnantofisrael.com. The link will be below. And there you can hit the donate button, and that's always very much appreciated. Until next week, Shabbat Shalom.